I went to acting school. I got out of acting school. I started auditioning. Had so much nervousness, fear, anxiety, thoughts in my head, and I really thought I had to give the whole thing up. And I reflected on something that happened with my dad when I was 6. He had this office with a floor-to-ceiling blackboard, and he was always doing these squiggles, and he called them calculations. And I was 6, and I was like, I knew what other dads did. I knew, like, I grew up in Alphabet City, very tough neighborhood, and the dads were, drug dealers or sitting on the stoop all day, or carpenters or taxi drivers, what have you. And I said to my dad, like, what is your job? Tell me what your job is. He said, do you see this table next to you? And I said, yes. And I was like, tell me your job. And he said, do you see your knee? I said, yes. And he said, the smallest part of this table and the smallest part of your knee are the same things, atoms. And that's what I explore, the building blocks of the universe. Side note, my dad was a theoretical physicist who worked with Einstein for 11 years and worked with Niels Bohr, Oppenheimer, and the whole crew. And
Amazing.
So that was his
That
was his
That
jam.
was his milieu,
And so when I reflected back on that and thinking about me auditioning with all this anxiety, if this is happening in my body, it's somehow related to atoms, because this whole thing is atoms. And I started experimenting, feeling the actual sensation of anxiety, as opposed to going, anxiety, bad, suppress it, go in my head. But like, what is this? And it was, for me, what I identified anxiety was often like a chaotic vibrational thing in my upper torso. And when I started to just feel the actual sensations, it took it out of judgment, out of good and bad, and it started to allow me to use that as creative fuel. And that's when my acting career really started, when I started working on Broadway and movies and TV, by using whatever is there. And we're so habituated, so culturally trained to believe that there's good sensations and bad sensations. And as long as we, I call it the greatest myth in the book, but as long as we hold that myth to be true, whenever we feel something that we believe is bad, like nervousness, fear, sadness, whatever it may be, we're gonna suppress our body, and maybe we can reduce that sensation. We're really just trapping it somewhere in our body. And then our attention has to go somewhere, and then we're back in our mind telling us that we suck. So from my point of view, if you want to create, especially if you need to create in the moment in a particular time, you need to use all of this juice. It's all good. It's all there to play with.
It's interesting to identify that feeling as energy without overlaying any kind of valence to it. This is just by dint of personal experience, but before I'll do some public speaking, I'll notice that, nervousness, butterflies in my stomach, etc., and I will immediately label it as anxiety, something negative.
Right.
But actually, when I step back for a moment, if it's possible, the nature of that sensation itself could also be excitement or positive. The sensation's actually almost exactly the same. It's the salience and the valence that we tend to overlay on top of that with our brain that creates the issues.
I would even see if you can take out, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is living in a human body. This thing vibrates, and we need to learn how to live in it, and the more that we can live in it with all this, it's like, that's what creative invincibility is.